All right. Well, shalom and namaste to each and every one of you today. What an amazing opportunity it is to be alive right now. So much is going on, as you guys well notice, whether it be forest fires that are covering America with the smoke. There are some who are wondering if that has spiritual significance to it, and it certainly, I'm sure, probably does, even if we don't totally understand how. But just so much is going on, man. It's like chaos and peace and confusion and clarity, and it really is an amazing time. And so I hope you guys will grab a hold of and understand that all of this is for a time and a season. I know that I can't, as much as I would love to, I can't share all of the things that I've learned and I'm learning that are coming out of this Sumerian that are, it's really difficult because they're not really prophecies. They're really cycles that happen no matter what. Whether we know about them or whether we don't, there's still cycles that are going on this earth and all over the cosmos. And so one of the greatest blessings that we get is an opportunity in which we live in. There is so much truth, ancient truth, that is coming out, that is exposing the light in the way in front of us. But unfortunately, a lot of people really, first off, don't want to hear it, and if they do hear it, they don't believe it. And so, I hope that anybody who comes along, Source desires for us to be amazing, to be what we are. We are amazing beings. That happens that shows up in the Sumerian context, and I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with the Atrahasis. I really want us to go through the Enuma Elish together, the 7 tablets. You will be amazed. That was Babylonian, so it actually came after the Akkadian Atrahasis, but it also draws on some of the parts in it actually draw on pre-flood information that existed. And so I hope you guys are grabbing a hold of some of this and learning. We are beautiful, we are light, we are love, but we still have to live and function in a material world, just as even the Anunnakis had to. And so we've been looking at the Stela of Seth. Many of you may not understand or believe or know that the Seth is actually deemed by many spirit people that Yeshua was Seth in one of those 3 other incarnations that it told us that he had come in 3 times. And it's very possible that is a correct understanding. We don't know what the others are. I assure you they were significant. Whether it be Buddha or whether he was Hare Krishna or maybe he was both, and it's really kind of, at this point, kind of difficult for us to maybe, to create a fact about that unless something becomes uncovered. I would encourage you and strengthen you that though maybe I've shared just such a minute part, and yet some of it is really overwhelming for people. To be quite honest with you, dear ones, we're not even remotely close to all the knowledge that is not yet interpreted, that will be accelerated with the use of AI. Now, whether or not they can get AI to function like they want it to, that is up to science and not me. But so we're looking at the second stela. We went through the first stela of Seth the other day. These are hymns. Whether you know it or not, hymns were very, very, very incantation-y in the ancient past. They had very significant powers because of the concept and the consciousness of the if you would, the spirit realm. So if you can grab a hold of that, then you might be able to see and understand many of the things that are being said here. And so the communal hymn to the Barbello Aeon, unified author of multiplicity. Well, you know that Barbello was the first thought, both masculine and feminine, that Source had. It's funny in all of these, whether it be Babylonian, Akkadian, Sumerian, or some of the other things that are believed to be actually more ancient than the Sumerians, pre-Sumerian, if you would, when the kings lived on this earth for 8 kings that lived for 241,000 years before and ruled the earth. Wow, there's really just so much, man, and it's hard to tell people in 5 minutes that not only is everything that you've been told to lie, the worst part is all that they've withholden. They didn't lie to us, they just simply refused not to release the information to us. And we saw this also, just so you know, in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So the behavior is always the same. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. If it is ancient and it has truth, they don't want you to know it, because it destroys their narrative that they've been painting now for 2,000 plus years. And so he says, great is the first aeon, male virgin Barbello, the first glory of the invisible Father. All the wording fits with what we saw Trismegistus on Wednesday. You who are called perfect first saw that the one who really pre-exists is non-being. Exact same verbiage as we saw on Wednesday. From and through that one you have eternally proceeded, the non-being one from an undivided, triple-powered one. You are a triple power. You are great oneness from a pure oneness. You are a superior oneness, first shadow of the Holy Father. Light from light, we praise you, producer of perfection, supplier of aeons. You saw that those who are eternal derive from a shadow. You have given rise to multiplicity, yet you turned out to remain one, while still conferring multiplicity through division. You are a threefold replication. Truly, you are replicated threefold. You are one of the one, and you are from its shadow. You are Calyptos, a hidden one. You are a world of knowledge. You know that those of the one are from a shadow. And these are yours. And where are they his? They're his in thought. And so, I don't know if we really have kind of grabbed a hold of, I've said this, and I said this to people, and it's kind of confusing because in some ways it's so far ahead of where most people really are. But the recognition of the consciousness of Source that is inside each and every one of us, folks, as that continues to unfold and to manifest, you're going to be really surprised. And there's going to be a lot of people that think that teach lots of people about what it supposedly is the spirit world that are going to be very ashamed of their self when it comes to light, that what they were teaching was not the truth. Now, that's not to say that they intentionally, it just simply means that for whatever reason, they're not in alignment with Source's will. And so, as we go along, they're not the enemy. In fact, really, to be honest with you, the only one that is an enemy of value is ourself. It's really been quite amazing to recognize that how much damage people do to themselves, more so than what people do to them. And sometimes people do things to them because of themselves. And I've been in that boat too. So we have to sometimes try to make sense of things that really don't make very much sense at all. So he says, you know that those of the one are from a shadow, and these are yours in thought. Wow. Because of these, you have empowered the eternal ones by substantiality. You have empowered divinity by vitality. You have empowered mentality by goodness. Did you hear that? I've been speaking for a long time about understanding that consciousness is what is exactly what it is said that it is. To be of higher consciousness. To be of higher intelligence and intellect. Those things exist inside of us. Yes, they have been put to sleep. They've been rubbed over. They've been covered with mud. They've been almost unlearned and washed out of our thinking processes. But in reality, if we all begin to recognize the significance of who we really are, I assure you that I believe it will happen, when that does happen, you will begin to watch a major societal change that will be towards higher, not lower. Unfortunately, a lot of what is being sold as frequency and woo-woo is actually not as high a consciousness as they would like for you to believe it is. Mindlessness can never be consciousness. Okay? It just cannot. And so for us, that should have been a dead giveaway to us, that when people tell you there is no rules and that's high consciousness, and because you feel good and you resonate with something that makes you feel good, that you somehow must now have attained some form of a higher consciousness. I hate to tell you, dear one, and I hate to tell anyone else who may show this to somebody who believes that nonsense, but it's not the truth. The truth is the higher consciousness that will change this earth is people being more conscious, not people being, quote unquote, if you would, more spiritual in that manner. The manner of woo that we've been taught. Think about the Bible. What did they tell you in the Bible? They told you that you were spiritual if you could cast out demons and if you could walk, and yet nobody can do that, so guess what? Nobody's spiritual. It's a program to keep you in a rat race, to keep you on the rat wheel running. It's exactly the same as how they explain reincarnation to you. None of us are obligated to come back in reincarnation. It is a choice you make, but it is only a choice you make if you know that it is a choice you make. Because if you don't know that, they will trick you and manipulate you to coming back in. Some of that information has come out, and it's really exposed a lot of things that are not correct that are being taught, although it doesn't take away from the reality that reincarnation is a real manifestation. The difference in concept is that you are not some powerless being that has to let the archons grab you by the nose and tell you must come back in. They only can do that if you are ignorant and allow that to happen to you. That's so powerful to hear that you are that powerful and yet you have no knowledge of it. Every one of us are going to experience what I just said to you, and we're going to find out for ourselves that it's true. It would be great if I could help some people find that out before they have to get to that point and then go, wow, he really was telling the truth. And so, and these are yours in thought. I shared the other day on Wednesday and Saturday, probably both, this new realizing concept that source is always, consciousness is always with us. We go through our lives and we feel alone, and yet we have never been alone. It's only a feeling, an emotion that we have, that I am lonely. In reality, you've never been alone. You just simply looked for something to fill that loneliness that you were experiencing with something other than the thing that you already are. And there is the big shift. Because when you begin to understand who you are and who Source is and who Higher Self is, you no longer need to go somewhere looking for something to keep you from being lonely. You already possess all that there is. And so, because of these, you have empowered the eternal ones by substantiality. You have empowered divinity by vitality. There is a thing that goes on. It doesn't mean you're not human and you don't get tired and your body doesn't get worn out and all of those things. But there is a vitality of mind that seems to continue to increase the further and the closer, the further that you go, and the closer as you go further, the closer that you come to source and to the revelation of the truths that we are, that there is a vitality. Life begins to take on a brightness, and it begins to take on a goodness that maybe you never experienced in your life. I certainly never had. And it's been quite amazing. It doesn't mean I don't fight with my human self. I do. But the difference is seeing the amazingness that he is in me, and that I really am that. That's a major breakthrough when you come to the point and you recognize that you really are that. You really are amazing. And so, because of these, you have empowered the eternal ones by substantiality, you have empowered divinity by vitality, and you have empowered mentality by goodness. Mentality by goodness. What an amazing thought process. Mentality by goodness. Well, it really is a picture of the Father when we begin to get that picture of ourselves. I shared with somebody recently in a conversation in the last few days, and I said, well, I have to tell you that I can do all of those things that other people do, but that's not who I am inside. And they kind of marveled. I don't know that they had ever heard someone say that before. But folks, we have to look inside and ask ourselves, who am I? Who am I? Who am I as a being? Not what my personality, not what I've been programmed by my family, church, country, state. Not that. I'm talking about inside of you. Who are you? Are you goodness? Are you evil? Are you dark? Are you light? Are you love? Are you hatred? You can ask yourself and answer those questions for yourself. They exist inside of you. And so, you have empowered mentality by goodness. Now, I've said a lot about the mind and mentality and increasing in intellect as well as intelligence. And I really believe that there is something that happens in the human mind when you begin to recognize that you are goodness. Why? Because that's a trait of his. And you begin to watch changes in people in the way they think and their ability to think, the things that they think about and they focus on versus what they might have used to thought about. I can't tell you how many times that I have experienced going, I used to think that was okay, and it's not okay anymore. I used to think that this was good, and now I see that it's not good at all. I used to think that that was funny, and now I look at it, and it's like it's so pathetic how horrible it really was, and yet that's what everybody laughs at because they think it's funny. Mentality by goodness. I believe that there is a prophetic unction inside of that statement right there, and as you begin to explore and understand the goodness that you are, you will begin to watch your mentality increase. And that's not necessarily just the connotations that is portraying, but it is certainly a facet of that understanding. And so, by blessedness, you empowered the shadows. Wouldn't it be strange if the very thing that Carl Jung talks so much about is actually in the ancient texts? What about if the shadows isn't the thing that we're supposed to be scared of, it's actually the thing that we're supposed to recognize? And so he says, and by blessedness you empowered the shadows. Flowing from the one, you empowered one in knowledge, you empowered another in quality. You made the equal and the unequal the same and the different. With generation and forms, you have empowered others in the realm of being to flourish with generation. To these you have given power. As a hidden one, you have empowered these by thought. as a hidden one, you have empowered these by thought. You have emanated into these and out of these. You are divided amongst them and have become protophanes, a great first appearing male mind. Wow. Fatherly God, divine child. I'd like you to think for just a second about that concept. Divine child. It's really funny because you hear a lot from psychologists and stuff about the hidden child inside of us. Maybe some of you have experienced, maybe some of you have spent some time meditating and you have actually encountered yourself. I remember the first time I saw myself as the child. I actually remembered me like I was when I was 5 years old, when I smiled all the time and life was pure and perfect and wonderful. I was in a place and it seemed as if everything was perfect. And as you well know as well as I do, it didn't take long for life to take that picture away from you. For many of you, it may have been abuse of family members, and you lost that beautiful being that you were. For others, it may have been something else. But all of us at that level, that's why Yahusha says what he says when he says, suffer the little ones to come to me. Okay, let me break that down for you, because I know that some of you that I know or have been in Christianity your whole life, and you have a very fixed picture of what that means. So what might it mean to suffer the little ones to come unto me? Well, if you can get past the reality that the Christ was not Jesus, and it wasn't even Yahusha. Okay? Christ in me, the hope of glory. It wasn't even Yahusha. Yahusha wasn't. Whether he died on the cross or whether he died 70 years later is irrelevant. That human body died. And there was something that was left that existed. That is the Christ. In you. You have it also. When your body dies, you still exist. That is the Christ. It is the chrism. It is the anointing. It is the power. And so, fatherly God, divine child, and producer of multiplicity, in a division of all who really are. In a division of all who really are. So we're talking now, we're bringing in a piece that I've been sharing with you guys lately about the highest frequency that nobody's looking for is actually comes out of authenticity, being real, being true, instead of an avatar trying to present a holograph of who you are as a person. And so, in a division of all who really are, you appeared to them all as a rational principle. You possess them all without generation, eternally, imperishably. So listen at that statement. You possess them all without generation, eternally, imperishably. You know, it's really sad, the quantity of humans that live on this earth that do feel and live and function in that realm of feeling as if they are alone. Wow. I mean, we see this concept that came, and it actually came before it was in the Gnostics' belief system. It's much more ancient than that, but they certainly picked up on it. That there is something that is in us and with us that always has been and always will be. Imperishably. I love that. There's no way, nothing can separate me from the love of God, neither height nor depth. Paul is talking about exactly what I'm sharing with you tonight, folks. The only thing that can separate you from Source And the concept and the consciousness of source in your higher self is you, dear one. Nobody other human has the power to do so. And so, a communal petition to the Barbello Aeon to enable the ascent. Because of you, salvation has come to us. From you is salvation. You are wisdom, and you are knowledge. Wow. How beautiful. You are truth. Because of you is life. And from you is life. Because of you is mind. And from you is mind. You are mind. You are a world of truth. You are a triple power. You are a threefold replication. Truly, you are threefold. So, just so you know, a lot of the concept Christianity took, because the ancients knew of this threefoldedness, the Gnostics that the Christian church was destroying and forcing out of communion together, they had to offer them something that was a fake simile of what they possessed. The threefoldedness is where the lie and the concoction of the Trinity comes from. Is actually out of the Gnostic teachings, corrupted, if you would. And so, you are a triple power, you are a threefold replication. Truly, you are threefold. The Aeon of eternal aeons. You alone see purely the eternal and unengendered primal principles. And to the extent that you have been divided, also the primal divisions, unify us as you have been unified. Teach us what you see. Empower us, so we may be saved to eternal life. We are a shadow of you, even as you are already a shadow of the pre-existent one. That's why when you find in the book of Revelation that it says, as Yeshua is, so are we to be. What is actually being said there is you are to be a shadow. He is already a shadow of source. You are to be a shadow of him. Now, we understand that when it's our little kid. I've heard people my whole life say, well, who's your shadow today? Oh, that's my grandson. Why? Because he's following around in your footsteps behind you, being a duplicate of you. Brothers and sisters, there's not any more beautiful words I could say to you than when we begin to focus on following around behind Yeshua, walking in his footsteps as we become what he was, that our life won't be massively elevated. You alone see purely the eternal and unengendered primal principles. And to the extent that you have been divided, also the primal divisions. Unify us as you have been unified. Teach us what you see. Empower us, so we may be saved to eternal life. We are a shadow of you, even as you are already a shadow of the pre-existent one. Hear us first. We are eternal. Hear us perfect individuals. You are the Aeon of Aeons, the all-perfect one who is unified. You have heard, you have heard, you have saved, you have saved. We give thanks and we praise you always, and we shall glorify you. Wow. So we get this whole cosmological picture of multiplicity and yet unity. So it's not trying to turn us all into the same thing. That's what Christianity wants to do. It actually glorifies the individuality and yet the way that we are singular and yet plural. That we are together and yet separated. yet again, as I would another paradox. And so the third stela, I did want to say also, this week is a little bit different with things. We enjoyed the music with y'all last week, and I've heard some positive things that y'all enjoyed it as well. Hopefully, if everything works out, we'll be back together again next week, and we will be enjoying that again. And I hope that if that touches you, I hope that you can be a part of that with us. It does matter. The learning that's coming is in some ways shifting. It's not taking away things as much as it's shifting perspective of things. And so I know that there's been those who have asked, when will we play again? And yet again, we will live again. So, communal doxology and the petition to the Supreme One, the third stela. Opening communal doxology. We rejoice, we rejoice, we rejoice. We have seen, we have seen, we have seen what really pre-exists. That it really exists. And is the first eternal one. You engendered one, from you are the eternal ones and the aeons, the all-perfect ones, who are unified, and the perfect individuals. We praise you, insubstantial one, existence prior to existence, prime substance from substances, Father of divinity and vitality. I think the piece for all of us that we can grab a hold of, there is an empowering that goes on when you begin to get in alignment with Source, and it seems like that's coming through. If I could, a healing, and yet it's not the kind of healing that if you were a Pentecostal, that you were taught. It's actually a healing that comes forth from the inside. It heals the inside, and then it heals the outside. And so, better that we should heal the inside, even if the outside never receives it. And so, the Father of divinity and vitality, creator of mind, supplier of goodness, supplier of blessedness. We all praise you, and you who know with glorifying praise you, because of whom all of these are, you who know these that truly exist. You know, if you're struggling about whether any of the spirit realm world, there's so many divisions and so many directions, and it is on some levels it is kind of daunting. You go, well, which one is right? You know, and I know that I've talked to people that struggle with that. We all struggle with something. Some people don't have as much issue with that. Others have a lot of issue. It's just too much. You get overwhelmed. You get confused. I see that all the time when a teaching from Sumeria comes out, and it's as if everyone thinks this is going to be the one teaching that teaches me everything. And the problem is until we learn all of the teachings that exist, we will never know all that is. And so, who know yourself through yourself alone. And I think that for each and every one of us, folks, that really is also us taking on the character and the likeness. You who know yourself through yourself alone. Not through what people say you are. I grew up and ran around with a lot of people, and I watched a lot of people turn themselves into what all their friends thought they were supposed to be, or what their friends wanted them to be, and watch people destroy themselves from the goodness and the kindness that they were, so that they could be popular with people. And many of you maybe experienced that on either side of it. Maybe you were the one, or maybe you were the one that was goading your friend to to do bad things when your friend had no desire to do bad things. And so, for there is nothing active prior to you. You are spirit, alone, and living. You know the one. We cannot speak of this unity, which belongs to you everywhere. Your light enlightens us. I want to speak to that a minute. It's kind of like the misconception that's being used, and it is corrupt, of awakening. Some people think that you're going to have someday a supernatural thing where you're going to wake up and you're just going to know everything that is, and everything's going to be hunky-dory and perfect. And folks, awakening is something that goes on every day. You may not get but 2 words of awakening that affect you today, and tomorrow you may get 10. Or you may have one situation that causes your consciousness to be opened. And it's very sad, because standards and rules are being set on what reality is by people who tell you that they're teaching you how to be free, and then turn around and tell you to run from reality. And so your light enlightens us. So when you hear people talk about enlightenment, when you hear it in the Vedic world, there's a piece of that which is not wholly correct. The enlightenment that is us comes from in us, and it is Him. I say that for you again. The light that is in us is what opens the door to the enlightenment, and that enlightenment is Him in us. And so your light enlightens us. Command us to see you. You kind of get the spirit there of make me, that we may be saved. Knowledge of you is the salvation of us all. That's why, in case you haven't understood, the significance of the whole I am statement is one of the most powerful. Because when that becomes who you are, then you have come to this place. Knowledge of you is the salvation of us all. Knowledge of you. Command. If you command, we have been saved. Truly, we are saved. We have seen you through mind. You are all these, and saved them all. You who will not be saved, nor have been saved by them, you have commanded us. You are one, you are one. Just as one would say of you that you are one, you are a single living spirit. How shall we give you a name? We have none. You are the existence of all of these. You are their life. You are their mind. Wow. So you see yet again another flip, another paradox occurs when it says that we are to have the mind of Christ. That is a really profound statement, and it doesn't mean what they told you it means. What they told you it means is a partial truth. Wow. You are their mind. You are their life. You are the existence of all of these. If in you they all rejoice, you commanded them all to be saved through your word to the extent that they are able. And that's a really nice thought process there. And so the traditional doxology to the supreme pre-existent one. O single preeminent glory, O hidden one, Blessed Sinoam, who generated himself. Asinius, Mephnus, Option, Elamoan, the great power. Emoner, Nabarius, Candiphorus, Aphrodon, Diophanus, you who are Armadon for me, you generator of powers. Thalantheus, Antitheus, you are in yourself and you are before yourself. And none became active after you. And so the final doxology to the Supreme One. How shall we praise you? We cannot, but we give thanks to you. We who are inferior. For you commanded us, you who are superior, to glorify you as we can. What's really beautiful, a couple of different thought processes there that have gone on, and a couple of things that have been said, actually kind of ties back with the concept of each man working out his own salvation with fear and trembling. You understood that the writer understood that there would be those who would do that, but they had no fear and trembling. I see those all the time. I had a church full of them. Oh, I did the good thing, so now I'm good, right? But we give thanks to you, we who are inferior. For you commanded us, you who are superior, to glorify you as we can. We praise you because we are saved, and we always glorify you. Now we glorify you that we might be saved to eternal salvation. We have praised you for we can. We have been saved. You always wished us all to do this. How many times does the Bible tell us that God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should do what? All should come to repentance. And what's forming for me is a picture of that concept right there. Repentance is actually simply acknowledging your failure. So what Source is really trying to say to us is he would desire for all of us to come to the truth about who we are. And it's only then and then can we be pure. It's only then can we begin to walk in alignment with him, because anything else is not authentic. Do you realize how difficult it is in our society for people to be authentic? Because sometimes what they deem to be authentic is actually corruption. So there then becomes the concept that I've been sharing with you guys about reasoning, being able to reason rightly. All people can reason. I listen to them. They have the videos of the lady that's fighting 10 cops, and it's clear she's in the wrong, but in her mind, she's reasoning that they're the bad guys. So simply reasoning is not the goal. Reasoning rightly is the goal. And so, we have all done this, we together with those who have been saved. Using the Steles for the mystical ascent and descent. There's a really profound thing here. There's a thing, and this fits with it, maybe not for you, but it does for me where I'm at in my journey. There is more and more being an open concept of there has always been an ascension and descension that's gone on in this earth between us and the spirit realm. In fact, what our society and what Christianity has done has closed the door for us to be able to ascend and then descend. It's part of the original death scenario. There is actually an option that most people don't know anything about that is more ancient than anything else that we know. And it tells us that we get to make a choice, and it's totally up to us to make that choice. But they are going to try to hijack you and get you to make the wrong decision. They come as your parents. They come as your spirit guides. All of you who've been listening to programming about your spirit guides, I would just warn you, be very careful. Because one of the ways that the archons pose themselves the most is as a spirit guide. And they are spirit guides. That's not a question. It's not that they're not lying to you. The question is where are they guiding you and from what spirit? The Bible tells us, John says, that we are to test every spirit that speaks to us to find out whether they be true or not. Maybe we need to return to some of the ancient things. And so whoever remembers these things and always glorifies will be perfect amongst the perfect and free of suffering beyond all things. Stop and think about that concept again. Whoever remembers these things, that's part of the remembering, is that these things are real, and always glorifies will be perfect amongst the perfect. So for all of you, this is one of the only times where you actually hear a concept of how to become perfect. I know that all of you have been brainwashed Christianity. All you have to do is say something about perfect and you'll get a whole church to tell you how nobody's perfect. Well, you first off have to have the right definition of what perfect even means. Whoever remembers these things. That's why you're hearing all over the place now about the remembering and people remembering who they were. Whoever remembers these things and always glorifies will be perfect amongst the perfect and free of suffering beyond all things because they know who they are. They all praise these individually and collectively, and afterwards they will be silent. As it has been ordained for them, they ascend. So the people that remember have been ordained to ascend. Did you get that? The people who remember. We are in a time of remembering that we are divine. And the people that do remember, those people will ascend. They all praise these individually and collectively, which is the first time in the ancient I've heard much about the collectivity, that there is a collective consciousness. We all come from the same consciousness. And afterwards, they will be silent. As it has been ordained for them, they ascend. After silence, they descend from the third. They praise the second and afterwards the first. The way of ascent is the way of descent. Ponder that. The same way that you will ascend is the same way that you will come back. There was a writing I heard today, an ancient text in the Sumerian, an interpreter in Assyriology who was one of the top people that interpreted cuneiform. And this was his statement about the Anunnaki. He said that they were capable of going both ways. What I would like to share with you is that in reality, originally, we were all capable of going both ways. Just as your children lived in the leaving of the material on a daily basis in ancient times, because they did not have the brainwashing, distraction, and confusion that this society produces. That's why your children are lost, wandering around. Their brains don't think right. There's a reason. It's not necessarily them, although I realize that we have a lot more manifestations now that are called sicknesses, in which they can treat you and the pharmaceutical company make themselves filthy rich off of it. So It's still the same process outside of what they're doing. And so the way of ascent is the way also of descent. So understand, as those who are alive, that you have succeeded. You have taught yourselves about things infinite. Marvel at the truth within them and at the revelation, I will add, that comes from them. And then the colophon. Most of you may not know what a colophon is. It's a scribal note at the end of a tablet that gives validity as to who wrote this tablet. That's all over Samaria. This is the Father's book, and the Son wrote it. Bless me, Father. I bless you, Father, in peace. Amen. What an amazing concept. Folks, the greatest days of humanity, I have to dare say, are in front of us, for sure. They may also bring the darkest days of humanity. I don't know the answer to that one yet. We're going to have to find out how things go. But irregardless, they're still, for those that are remembering, and for those people who are already starting to recognize that things are not what they used to be. There's something shifting and there's something changing. And that shifting and changing is going on inside of you, dear one. You are an amazing, marvelous being. You might have human problems that you've allowed to rule you. You might have human processes that you put above source and light. But the light is still in you. And so I welcome and I hope that each and every one of you will take the opportunity to look inside, to embrace the shadow instead of shun it, to acknowledge the shadow. It's the only way to come to peace. It's not that I'm not that, it's that I am that, but that's not me. Profound statement, to be sure. So, peace and shalom to each and every one of you. As I said, we'll be back on Wednesday, source willing, and then hopefully next week we'll be back on a little more of a normal format. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I hope you guys are growing in the changes and the excitement and the vitality and the love and the amazing fruit that is coming out of the peace of being, for once in your lifetime, okay with who you are. In fact, in many ways, proud of who you are. Maybe you've lived a life where you've lived in guilt and shame, and you've been the reason for everything that was broken in everybody's life around you. If that is you, and that is what you've gone through, I'd love to tell you today, it's not the truth. That's only the truth that has been recited to you. So, peace and shalom with love. We thank you for all your goodness. We thank Source for all of his goodness and all that he's doing in this world, which is absolutely amazing. Shalom and namaste.